Hi, and welcome to Knitting on the Float. My name is Tracy, and I'm your host. I am coming to you from a gray day in the Vancouver area. It has just started to rain, and you know what? That's okay, because that means that it gives us a lovely chance to visit for a little while and gives me a fantastic reason to stay inside and start chattering about the knitting that I've gotten up to this week. So not all bad. Plus it means in the Northern Hemisphere, where we have just started spring, that those beautiful spring flowers are getting the moisture they need so that they can bloom for us and bring us lots of joy. This week, I have worked on a few different projects. One of them is a test knit, so I won't be able to share too much, but the other one that just came out of the blue yesterday, I will be able to share a lot about. Sleeves, well, we'll get to that as well. But before I do, let me let you know where you can find me. I am Tracy RR on Ravelry, and I am at Knitting on the Float on Instagram. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. This is a podcast where I primarily chatter about the knitting that I've gotten up to in a week's time. It's a weekly podcast, and this week I have only knitting to share. Sometimes there are other crafts, but most of the time it is knitting. So welcome. I hope that you have a nice warm or cool beverage and that you have taken some time for yourself and you are ready to just sit, enjoy, and see what I've been up to. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I know you have chosen your favorite spot, whether it's on the couch, whether it's on the chairs, whether it's just looking at the water going by from wherever you're sitting. I know that you are comfy cozy, you have that requisite beverage, and you are ready to sit down for a while with your project while I share what projects I've been up to. So I am very, very happy to have you visiting with me again today. I am very excited to share what I've been up to on the couch, but before we do that, it is time for tea time, and today I am drinking out of my silly old bear mug. This one is my oldest mug that I own. I love, love, love this mug. It's my Creature Comforts mug, and today I've been having a bit of a sore tummy, so I think that Winnie and I will enjoy spending some time together. Today I am drinking Yorkshire Blends Toast and Jam, and it does smell nice and jammy, right filled to the top, and I am hoping that it will settle my stomach. For today, we are now in a new season, so the equinox was just a couple of days ago. Let us cheer to a wonderful new season filled with lots of health, lots of happiness, and lots of crafting. Cheers to a new season. This week, I spent some time with 3 of my knitting projects, and the first project that I am going to share a little bit about is living in this lovely bird legs bag. I can't share too much because this is a very, very special test knit, but I will share my yarns, and I have shared my yarns on this project before. This project is going to be very colorful and will definitely be rainbow themed. For one of my yarns, I am using this fun skein of Afterglow. This is a BFL by Nora George Yarns, and all of those pops of color are knitting up beautifully. Just, oh, so pretty. And I have been holding my yarns double with Hedgerow Yarns Fluff. This is a mohair silk and undyed, so colorway naked with the Afterglow here. So, oh, so pretty. And the colors that I have introduced so far into this project are red, orange, and it's a yellowish green, but I'm saying it is yellow. So I've got my Roy of my rainbow, so the Roy G Biv. These ones have all been knit up. And I'm using Miss Bab's Yummy 2-ply, Yummy Toes. And I have more rainbow colors to add. So these 5 still need to be added into the project, and it is knitting up absolutely beautifully. But again, it is a test knit, so I cannot share too much more for now. But these yarns, oh, they are just so lovely to work with. And the great thing about the Nora George yarns in the BFL and the Yummy 2-ply toes is the twist is so similar in the yarns that it is a match made in heaven. So stash diving was very, very successful for this test knit, and when I can, I am so excited to share this with you, but I'm not sure when it's going to be released. In the meantime, I do have a lot of work still to do, but slowly but surely wins the race. The next project that I am going to share with you is living in my gorgeous bunny and squirrel bag that my sister-in-law gave to me. I got a little bit done on this project. This is my Morticia, which is a sweater by Andy Satterland. It's a lovely, lovely sweater pattern, but I got a little bit distracted by my test knit and then another project that I decided to knit up as well. For this project, I am using some more Nora George yarns, and oh, wonderful news. I saw on Instagram yesterday, Tracy of Nora George Yarns is going to start dyeing yarn again. So she will be starting to dye yarn, I believe, at the beginning of May. There is one colorway that I absolutely love, and I know I need no more yarn, but Mr. Weasley's Ford Anglia has been calling to me for quite some time. I knit a pair of socks using that colorway, and it is so gorgeous. I would love to knit a garment with it, but there is hope. Nora George will be re-dyeing, Tracy will be re-dyeing Nora George yarns, and oh, her colorways are beautiful. This one is called Sweet Pea, and this is Cloud DK. It is alpaca, silk, and cashmere, and it is soft, squishy, and just so scrumptious. And these colors are amazing. So I have one full skein left. I am slowly working down this one, and I am hoping I have enough yarn to finish off the sleeve. When I left you last week, I was working on sleeve 2, and I left you where this lovely little unicorn is, and I got a little bit of work done. Not a whole lot, but I mean, these are puffy sleeves, so you know, from here to here, it is better than nothing. And this Morticia sweater by Andy Satterland, unfortunately the pattern is no longer available, but I have been wanting to knit this sweater for a few years now. I would like to knit it a few times, but I have been wanting to knit it since it was released in 2019. I had this yarn at that time, and I knew exactly when this pattern came out that I wanted to use this yarn, and it just feels so good to finally have pulled the yarn out, wound it up, and pretty much knit almost all of the sweater. Goals this week: to finish off this sleeve, because I'm really not very far from being done. I think I have about 19 to 20 more rounds of the mesh, and then I have the ribbing on the cuff to do, binding off, and then putting on some labels. And let me just pull out, this is my little squirrel pouch of labels. These are from Grain Deep. And I'm thinking of either using this fun bright pink one. I have them in lots of different colors. I don't think I'll go with green or any of the other colors that I have. Or I'm thinking pink all the way on this one. So I have that bright pink, or I have this muted pink. And I like to put these tags, I fold them like this, and it has the little sheep on the one side and then says made by Tracy on the other side. And I like to put it on the bottom left-hand corner of my sweater on the hem. So I'll just use the neckline here, but here is what the bright pink looks like. And here is what the light pink looks like. So I guess it depends on how much I want it to pop. Both go really quite nicely with this yarn. I was originally thinking I would probably go with the lighter pink, but I might go with the bright pop. Something to think about. Any thoughts are appreciated. So, light pink, bright pink, just has to be pink. And oh, it's gonna look so amazing once this sweater is all done. And I cannot wait to try this on for you and show you the sleeves because they are just dreamy. Getting there, slowly, but surely getting there. And that's the way we work, isn't it? Okay, so that is project 2 that I worked on. And where my first 2 projects were very much slow and, slowly wins the race, slow and sure wins the race. This next project, it was a speed demon type of project, but we'll put that one aside first. The next project I worked on so quickly, it didn't even get a project bag. I went up to my stash yesterday afternoon and I knew exactly what yarns I wanted to use. I wanted to use this gorgeous Madeline Tosh Light, and this is the Chicory colorway. So I've had this in my stash for quite some time. I don't know that it wants to focus. So Tosh Light in the Chicory colorway. I didn't think to weigh these before I started working with them. Now, what I did was I wanted to create a worsted or Aran weight yarn from 2 skeins of Tosh Light. So 2 skeins of fingering weight. So what I did was I wound up the 2 balls that I had in my stash, and I pulled from the center and I pulled from the outside on one of those balls, holding them double because holding yarn double is fun, though it can cause tangles, and thankfully I did not have any tangles. And then I held the yarns from the center and the outside of this ball as well. So I'm going to try and find the center pull of this one. I thought about finishing this project off today rather than in the wee hours of the night last night, but then I knew that if I did that and I put it down, I'd probably get a really bad tangle, and I just didn't want to risk it. I cannot seem to find, oh, there it is right there, the other edge. So basically I held 4 strands of the Madeline Tosh light together. I suppose I could have twisted them when I wound them and just wound them all together, but I just tried my best to do some yarn management so that I didn't have any tangles happening. The fabric that I have created from these 4 strands together just makes me so, so happy. Now, what I made was a free pattern from Purl Soho, and this pattern is the bandana cowl. And the bandana cowl looks like this. You start at the bottom and you join in the round and you do this garter edge, and then you work on the point, and then you do short rows back and forth until you get to about here, and then you have some decreases happening after you join in the round after your short rows, and you make this absolutely beautiful, beautiful cowl. And I kind of feel like I've been making life-size gnomes with this cowl, but this cowl is, oh, the fabric, isn't it just, oh, so beautiful. The color, how the 4 strands held together has knit up together, and the structure, the feel, it is so, oh, squishy. Just the squish factor in here is unbelievable, and it just feels so thick and warm and sturdy. I'm absolutely loving how the chicory held quadruple has knit up, and oh my goodness, doesn't it look like a gnome's beard? You just sit back a bit and yeah, just, it's wonderful. Anyway, I have knit this as a gift. I have not blocked it yet, although, you know, I have to say, I don't know whether it's going to take forever to dry, but you know, there is something nice about when you block it. It will soften it up, but I just, I just wish you could reach out and give this a squish, because it is absolutely amazing. Anyway, as I mentioned, it is a free pattern by Purl Soho. It is the bandana cowl, and I just went into Ravelry and linked the pattern. I think it's in English and Italian as well. And oh, I've made this a couple of times before. I had a special request for this one, so this will be gifted very, very soon. But the great thing about this one is it covers the back of your neck so that if you're outside when it's cold, you're covered there, and then of course it covers your upper chest. So, you know, if you've got a jacket on, you really keep warm, and then you can pull it up around your face so that if it's super, super cold, you don't feel the chill as badly, and you cover that nose so you don't get frostbite, especially when it's a really nice thick. I ended up using Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, so I've got a little bit of a flare happening. I will block this, and then so I'll wash it, lay it flat, and then hopefully it doesn't stretch out too much, because I really love the elasticity that it has. Anyway, that was something I threw on the needles yesterday and wanted to get done because, again, I didn't want to tangle my yarns, but I absolutely love how holding these 2 skeins, same colorway together, middle and outsides, to make that lovely worsted Aran weight yarn, and I absolutely am thrilled with how this has turned out. Pretty fabulous for some stash diving and a free pattern. I enjoyed knitting this bandana cowl so much that I am thinking I need to make another one. Now this weighs about 160 something grams, and I only have about 65 grams left of these. So I won't be able to make an exact replica, but I am thinking that what I might do is rewind these yarns, because they are starting to get a little bit messy, and go from the outside of both of these. And then I have another skein of a wonderful Madeline Tosh light colorway, which is similar but not the same. And if I wind that one up and then pull that one from the center and the outside, I might have some more beautiful yarn to make another wonderful bandana cowl. Oh, but this one, oh, it is dreamy. Last week I mentioned that I didn't think there would be very many brown paper packages in my future. I must have spoken too soon. Not a brown paper package, but a lovely teal box arrived today, and this teal box is from David's Tea. I know it is not yarn, but since we do sit down and enjoy a cup of whatever it is together each week, I thought this would be fun to share on the podcast today. So, I love this tea. What did I order for myself? I ordered something absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful for myself. And before I share what is in this box, I'm quickly going to grab something that I have from David's that I absolutely love. Now, I have shared this on the podcast with you before, and this is my lovely travel mug from David's Tea. As you can see, it is very well loved. It's got paint chips on it. There are a couple of dents at the bottom as well. It is a very, very loved tea mug, and I will usually take this in the car with me. When I was still working in Toronto, this came with me pretty much every day, filled with tea, and I love these because they keep the tea super, super hot. Just before Christmas, I looked on the David's site because and the other thing I love about this is the handle. I love this mug, travel mug, so much, but I haven't seen ones like it in quite a while, and David's wasn't carrying them for quite a while either. So I did look just before Christmas, and I saw a couple on their site, and I thought, oh, I really like those. But then I left it too late. I didn't order them, and they were gone. The other day, I decided to take a look at the website, and they had something even better than the ones I saw in November, December that I didn't order. And I knew I absolutely had to order myself another one. So I will pull off the tape and remove all the paper. Comes a box within a box. David's Tea. And it's wrapped in tissue. Looking at it through there, it doesn't look too different, but this one I think is pretty spectacular. This is my new travel mug, so it's a little bit softer teal, and it's got the matte finish, and I love the fact it has these lovely little silver stars, and at the bottom David's Tea is written in silver as well. And let me pull off the sticker off the bottom, and then purple on the bottom. So I love the fact that it's like this mermaid looking teacup and carry travel mug. As I mentioned, I love these handles, and let me share a few of the features that I keep wanting this type of mug. So in the top, you can pop some extra loose leaf tea in here if you are on the go and want to bring some extra loose leaf tea, because this is fantastic for loose leaf tea. It has a mesh strainer on the top there so that you hopefully don't get any leaves coming through. And then here is the strainer where you can pop your loose tea in. It just screws on like that, and then you've got a wonderful cup of loose leaf tea. Now, of course, you can throw some bag tea in, no problem, and then when I do that, I usually just pull that off and leave that at home, less to wash afterwards. But as soon as I saw this on the website, I debated getting two, but I only need one. And because I still have this one too, but I don't let anyone drink coffee out of this one. So maybe one of the boys can now use this for coffee, and this is mine and is for tea. And look at that. Those little stars, the silver stars, it's like Tinkerbell in a mug. Made me so, so happy. So today it's Winnie the Pooh, Tinkerbell 2, and a very, very happy brown paper package for me. It's now time for Bits and Bobs, and this is my segment where I talk about anything and everything not necessarily knitting related. It's actually been a fairly quiet week around the float house, and lots of knitting has been happening in the background. Nathaniel is on his second week of his spring break, so March break, and I think he's getting a little bit bored. He's looking forward to going back to school next week. He did have a ukulele lesson yesterday, so he was happy to have that diversion, and he's been watching a lot of Master Chef Canada, so he's been trying to figure out how to poach eggs and do all of those very cuisine-y type of things. We've also made a couple of soups this past week. So we made some cream of vegetable soup and some split pea soup. So lots of cooking has been happening around here in addition to the cooking on TV. Yesterday, I happened to look outside and the beaver was just swimming alongside the house. By the time I grabbed the camera and got outside, he had passed, but I do have a little bit of a snippet of him swimming down the river. It took me a few moments. Is that an otter? Is that the beaver? What is that? And it was the beaver. Anyway, I will pop that footage in here. It's not very clear, but it's a little bit off the float. I just looked out the window and you can see the head and the water's moving behind it into a wake. That's actually the beaver. And he just swam right by the house, but unfortunately I was not quick enough to grab the camera, but kind of threw me off for a second. But he's making good progress. You can see he's all the way down, just a little head popped above the water, and he's heading in a little bit towards the houses now and veering. Anyway, that is the beaver that lives near the float homes. It has been fairly quiet around the float house, but out and about in the Vancouver area, spring is starting to look like it is arriving. The temperatures have been warmer, and I have seen a little bit of proof that maybe some of those beautiful cherry blossoms that Vancouver has are starting to come out. So I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks to get out and capture some beautiful blossom footage for you. Otherwise, as I mentioned, it's been fairly quiet. Nathaniel will go back to school next week and things will start to maybe get back to normal around here. But I think that is all that I have to share on Bits and Bobs this week. A fairly quiet one. Thank you so much for joining me on Knitting on the Float this week. I hope that you have had a chance to enjoy some time with your project of choice while I have shared about the 3 projects that I worked on this week. I am definitely hoping that next week I will have a finished sweater to share with you. And I have to decide, do I want to use the light pink or the bright pink for that little sweater tag? I would love to know which one you would go with. I am wishing you the most wonderful, wonderful week ahead, and I look forward to sitting down with you and visiting with you next week and sharing whatever I have gotten up to with you then. Have the most wonderful, happy, and healthy week ahead. Bye. Here we are, the bandana cowl, aka the gnome's beard, is going to dry. It may take a couple of days because this is so thick, but oh goodness, squishy, squishy. So there is one knit getting ready for gifting. And then we have this knit over here, and big decisions need to be made. Which label? A nice light pink that just blends in and is part of that hem, or the bright pink that definitely shows that pop of color when folded over. So, bright pink or light pink. Big, big decisions that need to be made as we finish our garments.